Hello and welcome to another episode of Star Trek Reliant. I am Duncan Idaho, your GM for tonight, and we have a full house as we continue on with our planned one adventure to Earth before we get to DS9, but things happened and now we're at a two-parter. Let's begin with introducing our cast, starting with Chorog, our security officer.
At Pirate Scum Gaming, I play Chorog, security officer, former pirate, and Ratkin trainer.
Next up, we've got one of our scientists, D.B. Wells.
Hi. I am he.
We have another one of our scientists, Grawl.
I'm Arcane Flame, and I play Groral and Faberry, and up next is someone else.
That person is Jarlin playing Kara Junrani, our con officer.
Now that she's a synth, Kara is much calmer, and I hope to bring that to the table. But the first person to make a LLM joke or AI joke about Kara will be summarily launched out the space lock.
As it should be. Next up, we have our XO and CMO and acting captain Eli O'Connor.
You seem a decent audience. I hate to have to kill you.
And our chief engineer, Rick here.
You seem to be a decent host. I hate to die.
All right. We begin with another day on the USS Reliant as it's in orbit over the planet Earth. There's some trouble ahead, but for right now, the ship is enjoying a quiet moment of resupply, minor maintenance, and just double checking that the ship is up to speed before it heads off on a very important mission. Rectier, you are on board the Reliant. Where exactly are you as we pan in from the exterior and a lovely view of the sun and the earth and Reliant, and now we're in the ship. Where are we in the ship?
Yeah, so we initially passed through the engineering bay. Various engineers are doing their various jobs. It's LJ is just sort of nibbling on some little plant matter as we sweep by into the engineering lab. Rick is working on something. There are various parts that are disconnected that he is putting together. He has a personal project that I don't quite want to reveal just yet.
All right, so you get your personal project, and the camera keeps on moving down the halls to find where Kara Junrani is at.
It doesn't have to move far. She's walking down the hall carrying a box towards engineering. And once she arrives, she just kind of pops in and looks around. She notices Rick over working and just walks over and gives a sort of pseudo cough, clearing her throat.
Oh, Kara, I was actually just going to call you, he says as he slots this final piece round the back of something. As Kara looks in, it's what she's seeing is, it's just basically a large, white sheet draped over something roughly human size. Rick here is around the back, just popping out of, popping around inside. I've been working on a little project that's, been partially inspired by you.
Kara looks from him to the sheet and then back to him and simply says, "You have not gone all Dr. Frankenstein on me, have you?"
I mean, if probably not. It sort of depends on context, but these were manufactured parts. They were not stolen from other systems.
All right, but if you start screaming, "Give my creation life," I'm going to run.
Um. Well, I might as well just tell you and reveal it. I have, well, since you, we've picked you up from the Conclave homeworld, I've been wondering about how my people would create an android, well, a sauroid in this case. We never actually did get around to it, seeing most of our scientific and robotics, and we're focused on more mechanical and warp capable travels.
Kara sets the box down nearby and simply nods. Well, given what was happening in the SAR system at the time, scientific resources had to be reallocated. I have, however, seen a great deal of drone and robotic use among your people. Nothing, well, sauroid, humanoid, whatever.
Yeah, so that is essentially what I have tried to create. I got Ged to give me anatomical statistics and dimensions, and it details how our muscles work, all that kind of medical information, and I've translated it here into, and he pulls it off, a sauroid. And it's a pretty shiny metallic sort of thing. Clearly reptilian. There is technically a tail, but it's more like an odd bump in the back. It, like, sort of changes how it looks rather than any kind of functional or even a tail that could, like a dog or a cat, that could indicate anything. It's just sort of a very stumpy, small kind of thing.
Kara nods and kind of looks it up and down and says, "This is extremely fine work. I am surprised you went with solid metal, though, and not a polymer."
Well, I mean, it is. I thought, well, if I'm going to try and create something, then I use the materials that would have been used if my people did do it. And metals were in, these particular kind were in relatively ample supplies, so it seemed more likely that it would be metallic than some form of polymerized, carbonized material.
Fair enough. Polymer use really only came into fashion among the Ibi and the humans due to shortages of other resources. Although I must say, it's probably not as soft as me.
Probably not. Rick T sort of like just steps back for a bit and just sort of looks around. Though, apart from the tail, you do look rather similar to it.
It is a rather handsome face, I must admit.
I mean, the face is pretty like flat and generic. There is like the shape of what could be a face, but there's no real defined features to it.
I'm going to let the statement stand and say that Kara was slightly lying.
It is. Computer, can you overlay the sauroid with Kara's specifications?
The computer complies, and basically over the top of the sauroid sort of draws this kind of holographic X-ray view showing an outline of various different pneumatic muscles, pumps that carry, nanites throughout the body and various other things. It's fairly similar to what Rick has built, although Kara is slightly longer in the face and, obviously has a longer tail, and certain other things don't quite match up, but it's definitely very close in overall body shape.
Computer scale overlay to match dimensions of the sauroid.
The computer does its best, but since the Sauroid has been designed without a gender and Kara is explicitly female, there are still some errors.
Yeah. So there's still there are the various gender markers in the tail, but apart from that, there seems to be a remarkable overlap.
So I notice. Were you operating from this as a sort of blueprint, or... Well, no, you said you were operating from the idea of what your people would build, yes?
Yes, computer, deploy a hologram based on the anatomical data provided by GED. And a second one appears. Change gender of hologram to female and match to Kara's description, Kara's specifications.
The hologram reshapes, and this time it's an almost perfect match.
The tail is the only thing that is missing here.
Kara nods for a moment, reaches back, yanks her tail off, and moves it off to the side. I suppose I could wear a shorter one.
I mean, I'm just sort of confused why there'd be so much of a matching between the sauroid and your body. Do you think there might have been some connection? But I know that doesn't sound right.
Kara replaces her tail and just looks over at him. From what I understand, my body is a great deal older than the Saur civilization at its current state. However, that said, I don't exactly know what's going on, and as well we know, time is not exactly a linear force in this galaxy.
And well, my people aren't really certain where we really came from. We didn't really go into the whole paleontology thing that humans and other species did. Once again, concerning the looming threat of, well, stellar destruction.
Kara nods and moves a hand to her chin, thinking, and says, and of course with new Saur gone, there's no possibility of attempting such now. Or rather, old Saur gone.
Yeah. Oh, well, it is a rather curious thing, but...
However, if I take your meaning, you believe that there is some connection between my current body and your people.
Well, I mean, they do match rather well. I don't think that
It was
could
a
be
thought I had
coincidence.
As has been stated, the tail, of course, is the, slight difference, but as I've readily shown, it doesn't need to be.
Well, I mean, when our mythology stories talk about how the world was very cold, full of snow and ice, and it was a very harsh environment. Maybe that there was some kind of natural selection going on, and those with longer tails were more prone to cold?
That seems likely. A greater surface area means more heat to lose, and of course frostbite damage can be deadly. Therefore, natural selection would, benefit those who had a shorter tail and the ability to stay warm.
This is, well, okay. I didn't expect doing that when I was trying to make a sauroid.
Well, I doubt heat dissipation is currently an issue for either the sauroid or me.
Alright, well, what did you come in anyway?
Oh, yes, I nearly forgot. She goes over to the box and kind of opens it up and gestures for Rick to come over and take a look. Inside there's a Yizzle rifle and a variety of other parts. I was hoping that you could help me modify this rifle to match Chorog's. I suppose I could try it on my own, but I would much rather do it under your supervision.
All right. I've done what I was going to do. I can definitely spend some time to help you.
Kara looks over at him and just back at the sword. You're not going to activate it?
I don't currently have a control mechanism for it. I was going to set up some straps and some sensors, but that seems it is very it doesn't really have any kind of autonomous function. It is purely a remote control thing right now.
I see. And even with basic computing power, there's still not much reason to activate it unless you have something for it to do. I understand.
All right, well, let's get started on this rifle.
Thank you. Let's.
And I'll have you guys make a insight or control engineering rolls to see if you can get your rifle up to speed in short time.
I'll go ahead and assist, but I don't have a whole lot of faith in this.
Come on, Rick.
Yes, I'm just double checking my stats. 11 for control, 5 for engineering.
Oh, hey, I did add a success.
I am doing the wrong thing.
For anyone curious, I rolled a 5 on my d20, which is lower than my target number of 11. Kara is not very good at engineering, though she is very good at control.
With 2 successes on Rick, I'll allow you to narrate what you're able to achieve, but in short, it will be higher specification than what Chorog has presently, which will allow you to make further upgrades to Yizel rifles.
So as the magnetic coils have been sort of like Rick Tier is sort of like supercharged them using a bit overpowered for the coil, meaning there is not only more power that could be provided to the propellant, but also that power could be redirected for future attachments and enhancements to the device.
Kara smiles while holding it up. Excellent. This will be a very useful squad support weapon. From what I understand, we are to deploy soon, so it is handy to have. Although, I would not tell Chorog it's better than his. Instead, perhaps we should just upgrade it sometime when he's not looking.
Well, I think Chorog might enjoy some friendly competition in the engineering space.
If that be what you believe. I do know that Chorog has a certain level of competitiveness for these sorts of things.
Well, we don't really need to tell him, though, do we?
I won't if you won't.
At this point, you guys get a ping from the bridge. Larissa to Lieutenant Commander Jinrani.
This is Lieutenant Commander Jinrani. Please proceed, Larissa.
We have a small situation. Senior staff, it would be useful to report to the bridge.
Very well. I will be there shortly. She looks over at Rick. Are you coming along?
It sounds like everyone's needed, so yes.
Charog, you are also being summoned.
Chorog's in his quarters fiddling with his new armor. He picks up his comment. I'm on my way.
And shortly, a conspicuously small number of senior staff members are on the bridge.
Kara scans the bridge back and forth and notices only Moon and Larissa. Where is the captain?
Well, that is the nature of the current security emergency. We were tracking them on a holiday run, I believe, to, Norfolk, England, but they have just disappeared from sensors.
I see. I take it that communication has also been impossible.
Yes, that is correct. We are currently inquiring with the local security departments, but there's quite a bit of difficulty in getting them to approach this matter with any degree of urgency. They believe it is first and foremost a technical glitch.
I see. It is common for most such civil authorities to demand that at least 24 hours have passed before a missing persons case is submitted. However, we do have other sources we can contact. Have you contacted Starfleet Command to alert them?
No, not presently. Wanted to consult with some other senior staff members to, um, well, get the go ahead.
If we're able to communicate with Earth, and particularly with the Norfolk local security units there, it wouldn't make sense we wouldn't be able to communicate with our team. If we knew where they were, then suddenly they're not. That would indicate some kind of scattering or dampening field, something that was specifically designed to interfere.
Specifically with Starfleet protocols. Kara goes over and sits in the captain's chair and leans over, putting her head on her fist. Did they go by shuttlecraft or transporter?
They arrived by transporter in the middle of Norfolk, proceeded to some amusements, and on that, we began to have a little bit of interference, and then that suddenly intensified to the point where we weren't able to detect them, or, well, their comm badges at least, or raise communications. We do have life sign readings from unique members of the crew that are with them, Commander or Lieutenant Commander Sachigaro and Lieutenant Commander Grohl, but well, we're not able to get any kind of pinpoint reads. So we don't believe they've been abducted from the planet. They're still there, but something is interfering with our ability to reach them.
I see. But because of the life form readings, we have a general location?
Yeah, they are still in the vicinity of Norfolk.
Well, that's very general.
Yeah.
It would not be incumbent upon us to attempt to search a whole city. Very well. I will move to the ready room and inform Starfleet Command of the current situation. If anything changes, let me know. Otherwise, we'll deploy... Well, we'll wait for now, but in an hour we'll deploy a force to go looking for them. If it is a technical issue, it should be easily cleared up within the hour. And if it's not, well... She stands up.
Larissa salutes and says, "Hi, sir."
Ma'am. And she
Ma'am.
moves. She moves off to the ready room to make a report to Starfleet Command.
And as you do that, we cut down to the fields of Norfolk. It is a bright and sunny day, and a small steam train is plowing its way along through the slightly fading light at this hour. But the crew is being treated to the boisterous proclamations of their train conductor? Question mark. Given the fact that someone who was looking very much like a train conductor ran towards the station, and right as they're departing, but everything seems normal. They haven't been stopped yet, so things are fine. The man at the front says, "Ah, yes, Norfolk. I've spent many, many a lonely night here. Sometimes in the open fields, you feel the wind." You see the stars, and you can just imagine yourself at one with the cosmic eternity of it all. But you should never let your guard down, because this can also be a dark and sinister place as well. Isn't that right? You there, in the back? He points back, towards where Eli was sitting.
Eli's just trying to keep his head down, and he's reached into his jacket and just pulled out a flask.
Let's go ahead and have you do a control security roll.
Oh no. Okay. God damn it, I actually have to open up my thing. I was not prepared. Shame on me for not being prepared.
Dun dun dun.
I have to commit seppuku now. Alright, where the hell is this? There it is. You said which one again?
Control security. Control security. You're trying to do the Heidi.
Control security. Okay, so that's okay for me. It's going to be 13. One.
With just one success, you're able to avoid, well, the necessity of entering into conversation, but you're at the same time not making a convincing case that this man has pointed at nothing. You're simply delaying the inevitable recognition of this strange, boisterous man who is at the head of this miniature steam train. With Daniel still, who's still, at the helm of the whistle. Daniel,
I
do you
try-
give it a toot?
I mean, I would be a fool not to.
This is true.
Give it a mighty toot.
I try to swap places with Groll.
Grawl, do you let him swap places with you?
Grohl refuses and looks out and tries to keep his window seat.
It's a miniature train. They're all window seat.
This one is more of a window seat. He's actually sitting on the edge of the window.
It's got the sun. It's the nice window seat.
It's not. There's not even real windows. It's just like a roller coaster sort of thing. That's the best way I could describe it. It's like sort of open. It's open air. But fine. Shit, I gotta find someone else. Trying to switch with Graves then.
Graves is busy just watching the countryside. He's kind of oblivious, but do you think you can slip by him?
Yes.
All right, go ahead and give me a. Let's see. Another control security roll, but spending 2 threat, complication 18.
Oh boy. I'm scared.
3
Aha!
successes. You're able to nimbly slip around Graves. So now you are basically positioned yourself behind Setsa and her comically ornate hat. And comically, yeah. So you are well hidden now at this point.
Very good. I know I'm delaying the inevitable, but
Yes. So as the steam train proceeds, you're going to a fair distance. You pass a switching post that looks like it might lead back around, but you just kind of keep going on tracks that look a little bit less tended. Does anyone do anything about this?
Can
Or
I
ask
roll
a
to see
question.
if this is normal?
I mean, you can roll to see if you recognize that something might be up.
I'm gonna do reason
Uh,
engineering.
Yeah, reason engineering would be good enough. With 2 successes, you are able to recognize that, yes, indeed, this seems to be a road less traveled for this miniature steam train, and it seems like you're going through some of the wilder parts of the countryside. There are still some farms in active use, but a lot of this low populous area is being returned back to nature, so you have some pretty thick forest stretching on ahead of you, and the occasional bit of stone ruin into the distance as well. So yeah, you're going somewhere that is unusual for this steam train.
Daniel turns to the conductor and asks, were we supposed to make a turn back there, or
Well, in the one sense, yes. In the other sense, no. I mean, we could have, turned around if I thought that you weren't up for a little bit of adventure, but as I surmise that you are some members of Starfleet, I could use your assistance in handling a little matter. I hope you might be associated with a former colleague of mine, but if I'm mistaken, not to worry, we'll all learn something together.
Daniel looks Daniel, like, his whole demeanor visibly just kind of deflates a little upon hearing that there's Starfleet shenanigans afoot.
Well, it's things Starfleet could help with.
Still,
Is
it's more out of the ordinary than Norfolk steam trains normally would be.
Yes, so you continue plowing along, and the man looks back, who has previously identified himself as Big D. Actually, was it Big D or Kevin? I think it was
I think
Big
you
D
said
last
Kevin.
episode.
I think you said
Okay,
Kevin.
so Kevin turns around and calls back, "You there, little one with the feathers! I see you are entranced by the landscape. What do you see out there?"
I see grass and trees. I'm not familiar with Earth, so I can't identify the plant types.
Well, what about themes? What do you see that you might recognize about the land's natural history? And I'll have you do an insight science roll for this. With 2 successes, you're not able to recognize specific trees and plants, but at the same time, you recognize that, well, compared to what you're used to from various coursework, homeworld, and stuff like that, that there aren't that many different kinds of plants around you. It looks like a very reduced landscape that you're plowing your way through, which makes sense given Earth's industrial history and the long centuries this particular region has been in cultivation that it's just recently recovering from.
I guess this is a new growth forest from planned after Britain's industrial era right before the Great Apocalypse.
Very good, very good. You have a very keen mind, my young lad. Yes. Very well. Nature here looks to be recovering. It does bear the many scars of its past, such as we all carry in some form or another. Such a shame, such a shame. This place could have been so much grander, but maybe one day it could be again. And the train continues on. Eli, do you make any other, moves to maybe like hurl yourself from the train? Any more attempts at hiding?
See, I was going to hurl myself from the train if I got, complications. So
Okay.
I'm already perfectly hidden.
All right. So with that,
I'm just
we
going
cut
to
back
drink
to.
from my flask. Would you like me to roll for something for the flask or something?
No, not right now. So we cut back to the USS Reliant, and an hour has passed without any progress. The local authorities have reported that a small steam train has gone missing, has been presumed stolen by ruffians. That's as much of an update on local security matters as you've gotten from the Norfolk Security District.
In the hour, Rick has sort of been looking at the history of their tags about where they've been going up until the point where we haven't gotten any more location information for them. See how they were acting beforehand.
So you have them going through town, going through a small little recreation area, and going to the location of the steam train.
Well, there's clearly something very odd about that. Well, Kara stands up from the captain's chair. I suppose we're around Earth. If we disappear too, they can just send an entirely new officer corps. Chorog, Rick, shall we go investigate?
I'll download some the maps of the train tracks just in case.
Right. I'm going to take one of the shuttlecraft. Perhaps if we get closer, its sensors can overpower whatever the problem is. And if not, well, I suppose we'll just be following those train tracks and seeing where they lead.
I was half hoping Rick would have to build a contraption to go along the carts, but shuttle works just fine.
Kara, as she steps into the, turbo lift. Funny thing about trains, they can only go where their rails take them. Should be simple enough. And the door's shut as she says this.
That's
Ensign Moon
assuming
looks around.
Sorry, that's assuming they're still on the train.
It's also assuming that, well, they don't drive it off-road, says Ensign Moon. And with that, the crew assembles in Shuttle Bay and take the shuttle down to Earth. We're in Eli.
Yes.
It would really speed things up if Eli was discovered.
I mean, you're the GM.
I am. So I'm just considering ways in which Eli's cover could be blown.
I don't
And
know,
at this point-
but I'm going to DM you something.
What I was about to say is, does this train act? It's one of those small trains, yes?
Yes.
It's
So
basically
hold on. So there's no roof and on it, yes?
correct.
This is correct, I believe.
So Setsa's hat's going to blow away.
Yes, Tessa's hat does blow away. It blows away. She eats my hat. She lunges over and tries to reach for it. She lunges back over Eli and starts tumbling into him.
Oh no.
John, meanwhile, leaps off the train in daring pursuit of the hat. For Eli, you have a rapidly upside down or a rapidly upturning Setsa falling into your seat.
Try to catch her.
Okay, give me a fitness security roll. Complication range 17.
Is Marcus going to? Is Graves going to try to assist?
Graves is caught off guard. He was really zoned out, probably having an internal conversation with Ilium.
Ah.
2 successes, 1 complication.
Can I do this?
Yes.
Eli is going to sort of stabilize Setsa by pushing her in and sort of like pushing himself out.
So you fall off the train.
Yes.
So there's a great tumble as Eli falls off the train, and Setsa is basically upside down. Giant hoopsker just sort of like waggling around like a wayward bell that's come off its hinges, just plowing down a street of sleepy European street. And Kevin looks back and says, "Ah, glad you could leave us. Yes, young O'Connor."
Have you seen me? The train is getting away, at least. The
train is getting away at slow walking pace.
I'm just laying on the ground on the side of the rails. Like, maybe if I don't move, he'll think I died.
The train comes to a halt.
Shit.
John cries out, "I got the hat!" And he's tottering his way back to the train. Graves at this point is helping Setsa upright. Her giant, like, near Victorian style gown is proving to be not the best wear for active adventures.
Who'da thunk it?
Indeed.
I mean, when's the last time Setsa chose the most efficient and capable wear for the adventure?
Pretty much never. But at this point, Big D is standing up, or Kevin is standing up, looking
Kevin,
back.
sometimes known as Big D.
Sometimes known as Big D, is looking directly at you, Eli.
Is he, like, standing over me while I'm just still laying on the ground?
Not yet, but if you don't get up, he will likely come over to you.
Maybe he'll just pretend I'm some other ginger.
He is coming over to you now.
Oh, no. Oh, I accept my fate.
Soon, Kevin is looming over you, his long black hair and yellow jacket flapping in the evening wind. And he says, "Ah, Eli, it's been a few years. It is good to see you, and I say, and so many pips on your collar. Congratulations."
Hey. Yeah,
Oh,
it's
yes.
been a
Need
bit.
a hand there? And 2 hands that feel like, just various moving stonework pick you up without any, terrible force, but at the same time, you would not be able to easily resist. As you're brought upright, and the group looks on as Kevin proceeds to give you a mighty hug.
I guess I gotta hug him back. It's been
You
a
gotta
while.
hug him back.
It's been a while, Uncle Big D.
Setsa calls out, "He's your uncle?"
Kind of. It's complicated.
Yeah. I got that with Admiral Ross. So, yay!
He's my uncle in the same way that Checkers is. My dad is his friend.
Ah, yes, but we have been through a few adventures ourselves. Hunts through the night, finding, well, not what we searched out for, but still a bit of adventure in your younger years.
Yeah, also, I think he might actually kind of be my uncle by marriage as well.
Oh, it's been long and complex past. We go way back. Well past the Dominion kerfuffle and to deeper parts of time indeed.
You weren't even around for that. Where were you for that?
I was away, busy at the time. Never really did get the whole story, but, well, it seems Starfleet pulled through.
Something like that. I wasn't even born yet.
Well,
Hold on, so let me math here. No, I wasn't even born.
no. He leads you back to the train and says, well, tonight I thought I saw you at the station and decided to, well, involve you and your friends with another one of our expeditions, our hunts as they called them back in the day. So the
Yes,
train is
because last
currently not
time-
moving.
Very good. Yes, because usually these hunts go so well. I think I fell down a mine shaft on one of them.
Well, you survived without, well, any special attention. It was, well, an experience. It builds character. I've been. Well,
Yes,
there and
I'm told. I
thereabouts.
found out. I found out that I really don't need any attention if I have stupid things happen to me like that. Yes.
Oh, you've
shocked.
inherited that too. I see. I see. All the
you,
better.
You knew about that. Great.
Well, being with your father for a while, you get to see some things, get to know some people. Again, we are good friends. Good friends. And to your friends, I say hello again. Let us get the train moving, and I shall regale you with a little bit of a story about what lies ahead and why I've hijacked a steam train from the local fun fair to explore the wilds of Norfolk with you all.
Yeah, I figured you stole the train.
Quick question.
Yes?
Up till this point, was under the assumption that we were not the only passengers on this train. If
Nope,
that
there's
is the
random
case,
people
how
here,
are
too.
the normal civilians reacting to this?
They're just enjoying it in good cheer, taking photographs. They don't really know. Like, they were concerned when Eli fell off, but they haven't really paid attention to anything. They are local tourists from England and are just taking this on as a bit of theater.
Does
Love me
so
footy,
the
love
whole
me beer.
hijacking thing being mentioned doesn't make anyone?
They're busy in conversation. They didn't hear it. There's a couple of
Okay.
elderly women at the far back of the train just talking about how they used to, sneak out from school and go to the local shops. They might have fallen down a river somewhere nearby. But yeah. The local, the other people on the train have not caught on yet. So Kevin has the group kind of inch forward, and he begins the train again. And he says, "Oh, there's some strange happenings in Norfolk. Well, some, well, credible, some incredible, and that's where I like to find my happy huntings. Should say, starting a few months back, people reported hallucinations in the dead of night when approaching untended fields in the growing wilds of the countryside. By day there's nothing to find, but at night there's a stranger to be seen in the distance, sometimes unnatural in form, too big for a man, too gangly for a bear. Locals brush it off as kids getting into a new off-world narcotic. Those youngsters who hang around sleepy villages like Norfolk often tend to know for stimulants to expand their perception against a galaxy that's far away yet too reachable. And in this, I figure that with something that's changing form a little bit, it could be related to that Dominion kerfuffle about. I heard there are changelings about on, well, the galactic net, and thought that there might be something going on here.
Out of character. I'm just thinking that he's been reading the, Star Trek internet, and he found that guy from Lower Decks that's always about conspiracy theories.
Much.
I was about to say he found the QAnon of Star Trek. We're all doomed.
Are you thinking it's Black Shuck again? Because I gotta keep telling you, Black Shuck is only a legend.
No, I think it's the Dominion kerfuffle people, the Founderlings.
Yeah.
So there might be someone here doing things that, in a sleepy village, allow them a considerable degree of, well, covers. And, well, there's some strange... I used one of those tricorders, those newfangled gadgets, and wasn't able to make it work. So I assumed that there's some kind of dampening field out here, making scans untenable.
I see. Are you sure
And at
you
this
just
point, you can
aren't
go for it.
Are you sure you just aren't, scanning in the middle of that old iron quarry? You know how iron can just interfere with scanners when you're right in the middle of it in a field.
Well, this is where, well, folks like yourself, and especially you, young Eli, can be of particular assistance. Here's the tricorder in question, and you can give it a go yourself to confirm or refute my readings. If there is nothing here, then we'll simply proceed back to Norfolk and let these other passengers enjoy a pleasant evening ride.
All right. Yep. Sure. I'm a doctor, not I'm not really science. Like, Setsa, big dress.
Yeah, what's going on?
Think fast. Tricorder.
Ah!
Does she catch the tricorder?
She catches the tricorder with 2 successes on that roll. And
You see
that
that?
sets to start scanning. And she's able to confirm that, yes, there is actually something blocking your scans. And she also realizes that you're out of communication range. Like, out of communications. You can't contact the ship.
Well, I wasn't going to. I turned my comm badge off for this.
Well, she, is like, okay, there's a dampening field here. What are we... Oh. There's there's something... Yeah, she says, there's something up here, Eli. There's a pretty sophisticated dampening field. I can't really make much of it. Well, with this equipment at least. And she mutters that, trying not to look Kevin in the eye, and says, maybe there's something up here?
Perhaps. Well, fine, Uncle. We will check it out.
All right. Daniel! My good Daniel,
Yes.
would you like to be promoted to train engineer and pull the lever to get us going at full speed?
Alright, so, by the way, I just want to say the way I said yes, at first I thought you were talking to me as a DM, not in character as Kevin. Second, Daniel's response is he just kind of he's a little checked out at this point and shrugs, saying, "Sure, why not?" And he puts on
And
a
at this
spare
point-
conductor hat that's in the corner.
And then at this point, Kevin hops out of the train, runs around behind it, runs up to the other side to make it easier for you to scoot over to the engineering position rather than clambering around the giant muscly man. The train is not very fast. And you are able to, with a engineering insight roll, try to give the train some welly. You notice that while it is, well, styled to be a old steam train, there is a fusion power supply here actually giving it its go. It is a very clean form of transit. Also, potentially can go fast. One success, one complication. It go fast. It go too fast. You're zooming through the countryside as and the train careening, getting a little bit on one set of wheels. The passengers behind you squeal with laughter. They are enjoying this rightfully. And Daniel, do you try to bring the train back under control and you to go with it?
Like, and in Daniel's head, this trip is already off. It's already off the rails. He's just kind of embracing it at this point.
And you zoom off into the growing night and darkness of the forest, while the shuttlecraft, piloted with the rest of the crew, is, rapidly approaching Norfolk.
Car flies, above the city and over to the rec area and just kind of scans for the train tracks.
You are able to scan the train tracks.
All right. It looks
They're
like
where they should be.
Looks like they go in that direction. So she drops down to nape of the earth flying just over the treetops and just basically starts following the train tracks. And then she looks over at Rick and says, I know it's not really your thing, but let me know if the sensors report anything. If we start getting interference, well, we can sort of play a game of hot and cold and fly towards the strongest interference, because that's where the problem will be. And I know the captain, that's where he'll end up being.
I mean, we could theoretically try to triangulate it.
I mean, if you want to do the math.
All right, go ahead and give me a insight science roll. Rick.
Yeah, not
Wow.
quite my worst stat, but almost. Oh, no.
No successes. You're finding this thing to be a real headache as you try to triangulate and get a pinpoint of the signal. Your next set of bearings gets you, well, a different reading, and a different reading, and a different reading. And it seems like the localization here isn't fixed to a particular location, but it seems to be shifting around between several locations. It seems whoever set this dampening field up, which you immediately hit it once you start following the tracks a little bit further, is already spoofed the field to not give away its fixed position.
Well,
Yeah, some kind. The math is just not mathing right now.
Kara just pats Rick on the back and says, "No worries, we'll just keep following the tracks."
And at this point, you come to a fork in the tracks.
The shuttle stops and hovers for a moment, and Kara cross-references the tracks with the route that this train is generally supposed to take.
One goes in a lazy circle, the other goes off into the old rail network.
Well, if the train is missing, clearly it didn't go in the lazy circle, so let's follow that other one and see where it goes. And the shuttle starts moving again along the forked path.
You can start seeing a little bit of a glint in the distance. Something is moving at speed up ahead.
Kara just basically accelerates the shuttle to go catch it.
What you find is that the steam train is moving and moving quite fast, and you see a large man holding on to this. Once you were able to get into visual range, you're able to zoom in effectively and see Daniel at the helm of the steam train, just kind of like lazily sitting back, just chilling, while the thing is careening at very distressing angles.
Okay, Chorog, Rick, give me some ideas here. What's the safest way we could stop that? Tractor beam, just land in front of it, hope they stop.
Rick will try to determine what the power source is from a distance.
It's a small general purpose fusion cell. There's really not a whole lot to say about it. It's used as a ubiquitous element of Federation civic infrastructure in everything from household units to vehicles. It's a plug-and-play device, but at the same time, very well known.
Well,
It's simple.
Blow up the tracks.
I think that may cause injuries.
Well, we either have something that can disable the power, which it is a fusion and very stable. We could do something, but we risk, well, issues with the power supply going boom. Or we could try to do it something like maybe like thing of water.
Kara just kind of looks over at Rick and just says, "You're an engineer. Shouldn't you be able to project some sort of dampening field? The shuttle does have a small deflector."
Well, I mean, that's the question. We're already in some kind of dampening field, and we don't know what the interactions of this is going to be.
Could we just hit it with an EMP?
Rick?
Yeah, well, Rick will try to use anything that the ideas that have been generated to come up with some kind of plan. What would be the most stable thing, considering there's already a disruption field?
All right,
How do
if
you
want to go
stop a
ahead.
speeding fusion train?
I mean, you could also fly down and just say on a megaphone, pull over.
I mean, I was assuming that there were enough trees around that wasn't really possible. I mean, are we in a large open area where this is possible?
I
So
mean, it's
consider-
not. You can see the track has enough clearing where it's not that there's canopy above the track. it's well maintained enough that you don't have trees overhanging it.
Okay,
So you can
so
fly
Consider
over.
Consider the
Okay.
following. You are in a shuttle going fast. You can knock trees over.
that's bad.
That's fine.
Anyway, Kara's
Yeah.
going to go ahead and thread the needle and fly as close over the train tracks as she can to get close enough to yell at Daniel to stop. I guess control con?
Yep, and control con, and then Rick, you can also set up an EMP as a backup with a control engineering.
Kara threads the needle and
Oh.
flies up above the area and just looks and just activates the speakers. Daniel, please stop.
Daniel just looks up at the shuttle, shrugs his shoulders, and just kind of goes along with. He's going along with whatever at this point, and goes to decelerate the train.
Well, as soon as the train starts slowing, Kara moves the shuttle up ahead and lands it on the tracks so that the train cannot go past.
There's a slight problem with that. As Rick is trying to set up the EMP, he accidentally hits the EMP early and inside the shuttle. You start losing helm control.
Kara just kind of breathes in deeply and just immediately starts trying to activate the emergency controls to keep the shuttle from crushing the train when it falls.
Go ahead and give me a daring con or control con.
One success.
One success, you're able to basically you're able to fight the increasing interference from the systems getting hit internally in a way they weren't designed to. Internally get hit by an EMP. You're able to fly low and land the shuttle, but it is a bit of a rough landing. With
shuttle
potentially some
basically-
damage to the shuttle.
Yeah, the shuttle impacts, it knocks over several trees. There's a long trench that has now been dug by the shuttle. Kara just very quietly taps the emergency controls to bring the shuttle into a shutdown mode and says, well, I guess we're walking.
The rest of the group just watches the shuttle crash, and they're just sort of just all staring at it. You hear a little flash. You see a flash from someone behind you, and an elderly man who might be a Starfleet veteran just says, "Yep, they'll do that. Should never gone off from the Type 8."
Another one next to him says, "Then don't make them like they used to."
So did we
Not
crash?
at all. Not at all.
Did we crash ahead of the train, beside the train, or behind the train?
Ahead of it. Ahead of it.
Okay.
How's the deceleration going?
You decelerate just fine.
Okay.
Kara is going to jump out of the shuttle and head towards the tracks and stand on the tracks.
The train comes to a halt, and Big D slash Kevin stands up and says, "Oh, I see. There's been a little bit of a mix-up here. Oh, specifically, doesn't look like we'll be going ahead. I'll send the train back to the village center, and the rest of us will see to this crash shuttle here. Yes."
I suppose.
Hey, Kara.
I was about to say, they say that in unison.
Yes.
Big D promotes one of the elderly Starfleet veterans to be train conductor. He is thoroughly excited to take on
They
the
don't
role.
make these trains like they used to.
Daniel takes off the spare conductor hat, hands it over before climbing out, and just kind of silently going over to check on the shuttle.
And Kara, just as calmly as she can, just looks over at the command crew and says, "You really should call home more often."
We've only been gone an hour.
They're more like 2.5 hours now, sir.
Still, are we not allowed to leave?
Well, considering there's a scattering field over the whole area and we could barely tell that you were alive, much less where you were.
I mean, I'm always going to be alive, as unfortunate as that is.
Yes, well, that's not true of everyone else.
True.
Setsa says, "Yeah, I'm just a squishy little marshmallow here, and yeah, you're You're all okay, though, right? Like, the shuttle did look like it landed hard.
I managed to get the emergency controls online. Inertial dampeners are all right. It's She looks back at it, and there's a pained expression on her face. It's not good, but it'll fly, and it can be fixed.
It's a fixer-upper.
Rick does look quite sheepish right now as he's just like sort of like standing by the shuttle, just sort of examining it.
Uh, Speaking of fixing up, and how's Daniel's assessment of the shuttle going?
So, Daniel and Rick can both give me engineering insight rolls or engineering reason rolls. Graves looks over the shuttle and says, "Well, I think that's the first one we've busted up."
Another 20.
I was about to say,
It's like,
Kara very, very specifically says calmly, "It wasn't my fault."
no. Figured something just went blip, but yeah. I mean, we're kind of going on a little bit of a record for a new crew, and our shuttle's not crashing, so yeah, sets us in the books.
Kara just kind of goes over to the engineer, who I presume is one of the few people who has stayed with the group.
I accidentally did my roll in a different channel. It's in the Cool Things channel.
Okay. Which channel?
Cool Things.
Yeah, cool things, he said.
Okay. So 1 success, 1 complication for Rick, and 3 successes for Daniel. Daniel, using your reason and what you know of your studies of starship design, and particularly small ship design, you're able to see that the superstructure of the shuttle is fairly intact, and the propulsion systems are looking pretty darn good considering. Oh, wait a minute. Rick just pulled something, and one of these impulse engines just kind of flitzed out. So yeah, it's not going to get out under its own power, but at the same time, it's going to be easy to tow up and or transport up to a facility on Earth and fix it up. So it is a salvageable shuttle. It's just not something you're going to be able to fix in the field.
Daniel turns to Rick and says, "Well, it'll live."
Kara just kind
Rick sort of like just cuts himself as he sort of accidentally removes things as there's like this minor spark as it happened, and go ow, and just shakes his hand a bit.
Chorog, how have you fared in the crash?
Charles is shaking it off, just kind of scoping around the area, saying to himself, "It's too green here."
Yeah, welcome to Earth. In the non-humany parts of it.
So by now, Kara is basically standing next to Kevin and just looks over at him and says, "So I presume you have some idea of what's going on here?"
Yes, I suspected something might be up. I detected what was the scouting field with my expert use of a tricordering system. And have enlisted the help of an old friend. He kind of reaches over and pulls Eli over, and his associates to, investigate in the name of public safety and investigation.
This
I
is my
see.
uncle. Kind of.
Well, I suppose now
Yes.
you have extra help. Although in the future, I would remind you that asking for permission is better than begging for forgiveness.
Yes, I am, sadly unused to company in recent years. I've been off on my own in various pursuits across the galaxy, and,
He also does not get along well with the law.
Certain law members that I have special relations with, but, yes, in general, I, struggle to know my limits.
Right. I'm just going to delete all of that from my memory banks and pretend you didn't say it. So instead,
do.
let's focus on the trouble at hand.
So, yes, I think of, large structures that could be hiding something of Well, note when it comes to dampening fields and like, there is an abandoned priory school up ahead, built in the 12th century and abandoned in the Earth's 18th century. It's a sordid place with mundane history as generations muttered their theological and secular pursuits. Barely under any remembrance presence, and it's just one stone ruin among many, but, well, it just feels right.
Very good. Kara looks to the command crew from the train. I take it you are unarmed.
Setzer raises a hand.
Yes, Setsa?
I brought a collapsing phaser rifle.
Oh, very well done. For
All right.
everyone else, there is an armory in the shuttle.
I brought my knife, shoes, and a pistol.
Kara nods, and at this point, she's actually gone over to the shuttle and she's retrieved her Yizzle rifle from the container.
By pistol, you mean a phaser pistol?
No.
Daniel grabs a tricorder because at this point he knows it's handy to have one of those on hand when tomfoolery is afoot.
And I know Uncle D here should have many weapons.
Oh yes, a little thing here, little thing there. He starts like going through his coat and drop like a large machete drops out, and he says, "Oh, yes, I have several things for the occasion. Anyone shopping for anything in particular?"
I do believe that given the circumstances, non-lethal is usually preferred.
Ooh, well, I think I have. He holds out rather distressed-looking pistol. It looks like it may have suffered unduly in the mighty hands of Kevin, and says, "I have this."
I'm surprised you don't have the crossbow.
Ah, alas, it is in the shop.
Meanwhile, Kara just draws the bolt back on her Yizzle rifle, loading, a slug into the chamber, and simply says, "Yes, well, I don't have anything non-lethal either."
Chorog, as usual, is armed to the teeth.
Yeah, Richter just has pulls out a his phaser.
Why is it always
And-
weapons whenever I go down? Why is it always weapons?
These weapons are cool. Eli says as he takes, say, an Uzi out of his coat.
You
Graves
brought that
looks-
on vacation?
It's the vacation Uzi.
Kara raises a digital eyebrow at, O'Connor, and then moves over and kneels down next to Grohl and simply says, "If you're concerned about violence, given previous affairs, you can simply stay with the shuttlecraft. You'll be safe here."
I will, but there's also why are there so many wallabies surrounding us?
Somebody. Oh, God.
Ah, they must sense something is afoot. We are alone now that the steam train has left towards the village.
Kara
Must
just kind
stand
of looks.
tall.
Kara just looks confusedly at Grohl. What's a wallaby?
They're like possum rabbit things. I think they're from another continent.
Daniel turns to her and says, "They're like small kangaroos, if you know what those are." I guess they must have multiplied a lot since my day.
Don't. Are they dangerous?
Just don't walk up to them.
Very well. We shall ignore them and continue on our way.
Setsa turns around, having already started wandering, trying to wander towards a small wallaby, and just says, "Oh," and she wanders back to the group and just calls out, well, can anyone give me a little bit of a hand here? I didn't really bring hiking footwear."
There should be
Graves,
some.
can you-
There should be some equipment in the shuttle if you wish to look.
Regulation boots.
I mean,
Graves, can you
isn't
just
there
carry her on
a-
your shoulders?
Radio. And Graves kind of picks Setsa up, but instead of giving her piggyback, he just hauls her across his shoulders, like he's carrying
Fireman carry.
a large, yeah, doing the fireman carry. And Setsa's just scrubbing, "Hey, no, fine."
I would have suggested bridal carry, but that works as well.
Don't shuttles
haven't reached
usually
that level
have
yet.
replicators? Couldn't you just make shoes?
Well, the EMP sort of fried most of the internal systems.
Right.
This is fine. I'll just go barefoot if we get into any trouble.
So, this priory, we follow the tracks, or do you know another way?
Well, we follow the tracks up to, well, the bend up ahead, and instead of following the tracks along to some other godforsaken small town, we follow right and cross a river, and we should be right there.
Very well. Let us proceed. And she
The group
turns and just
proceeds.
starts walking along the track. She didn't wait for anybody else.
Yep, yeah, the group starts walking, although Kevin goes over to Grawl and says, "Oh, I appreciate that. Well, the ways of the warrior are things you are not comfortable with, but give you the encouragement that there are many other ways of, well, assisting. Your keen mind, your keen spirit, that is something to treasure."
As a reminder, Grawl totally did not eat a guy.
Yes, totally.
I used to be a
But yeah.
pacifist before I met you people.
Yeah, but how does Grawl respond to the pep talk?
Grow responds, sure, let me get a scanner that isn't destroyed by the EMP. Are there any?
Kevin,
There probably are
Kevin-
some in the shuttle because, like, some of the areas would have been shielded, but
But here, Kevin hands over his tricorder and says, "Here, take mine." And he hands you over a worn, 23rd, no, wait, no, 24th century tricorder.
Oh, I was going to say big box one from the 23rd. It would make
No.
funny sense.
No, Setsa would have commented earlier if it was a big boxy one.
All right,
Or
how
I'll
about one of the
accept it.
slim ones from the 22nd century for some reason that were still smaller? The Enterprise ones.
No, Grawl gets a classic tricorder.
Damn.
Does it have a purple stripe?
No, this is before Purple Stripes. It's got a
Aw.
yellow stripe.
Oh no.
So, as we return to the group, we are, well, our crew is tracking along a set of, well, nearly abandoned train tracks in the middle of Norfolk, England, on the hunt for the source of mysterious dampening field, with a man who may or may not be clinically insane, but at the very least is good family friends with the O'Connors. So, the massive man with the yellow jacket and the distressingly short shorts turns to Carr and says, "So, you're synthetic."
Kara looks to him and raises a digital eyebrow. However, did you know?
It is, a matter of, no meaningful deduction, but, I just wanted to say, hello. I've never met one of your kind before.
Another synthetic or one of my specific build?
A little of both. I've met some robots, but none I could ever have a conversation with. You don't really meet someone otherwise.
Fair enough. Synthetics are rare enough, but from what I understand, my physical form is entirely unique.
Ooh, most interesting, most interesting. And, is it your first form?
No. Previously, I was an iddie similar to Setsa.
Did you also have a predilection for hats?
No. That is a very unique thing for Setsa.
Ah, everyone's got their unique facets, I see. Some have hats, some have whole bodies. That's just how the world goes.
And some people
Times-
break into police stations.
I wasn't breaking in, I was later invited.
Erasing that conversation from my memory.
Please do.
Setsa looks over to Kara and says, You have that feature now? You could just kind of do that?
Kara looks over at Setsa and says, "Being a machine, my memory is evidence in court. I either have to erase it, or I have to act on it. I don't wish to act on it."
I don't know.
Okay,
I feel
so-
like that sounds illegal. Not for you have to like erase it, but like to have to show it.
Well, there's no reason that I would have to show it, but I would feel compelled to do so if I knew about law breaking. Therefore, it is imperative that I do not know about law breaking.
All right. Whenever whenever I need to keep a secret, I'll just follow it with a confession of a crime.
You're going to end up in jail, and there's nothing I can do about it.
Well, I don't
That's
break
it.
laws, so
Setzel looks sheepishly at Kara and says, Do I have to, get rid of the snack pile we've got under the deck plate then?
you what?
No, that's fine.
Why do you keep snacks under the deck plate? You don't need to.
They need a very specific kind of environment.
What do you mean
Eli,
they need-
Checkers has a swarm of bees in the Jeffries tubes, and he
Yes, we all
made-
know about the bees.
Technically, it should be noted that the area she stores that candy in was already there.
Okay.
I know we know about the bees. The point is, I think this is a bit of a step down from there in terms of objectionable hidden things.
It just why? Why not just get a mini fridge or some kind of container that can keep that environment?
Because
I'm just
people
surprised.
expect snacks to be in a mini fridge.
I'm just surprised nobody asked Kara why there was already space there.
Not gonna ask.
You don't have to. I'm just surprised is all.
And at this point, Kevin is not to be seen.
Ah, shit, he does this sometimes. Check the treetops.
He's a man in a bright yellow coat. How could he disappear so easily?
Insight security. And anyone can roll this, and I'll spend 2 threat, complication range 18.
Question.
Yes?
Since I've known this man many years of my life, can I just basically count this as having a focus?
Yes.
Alright, so what did you say it was?
Insight security. Oh my god.
Alright, insight,
I
that's
am
9,
rolling
security,
terrible this game.
11.
If it were D&D, you'd be cleaning house.
I'm just gonna say Daniel isn't I didn't get any successes. I'm just saying Daniel is just not caring. He's just still following the tracks. He's
Just
done with
continues
this whole
on.
situation.
Eli
Daniel's
knows.
just done.
Okay, so you have a couple of people here who had 2 successes, or 3 successes, who very much will find what happened
May I
to
do my
Kevin.
complication?
You can do your complication, and Rick will also be involved in said complication, if applicable.
Actually, yes. Kara is looking around when all of a sudden her visor goes dark. Oh dear. I've gone blind.
Oh, let me have a look at that. And Rick will just sort of pull out a little hyperspanner thing and twist some things and completely focusing on Kara rather than paying any attention to the guy that he's supposed to be looking for.
Once you get the visor open, you note that the cameras have gone offline and it looks like they were hit by an EMP burst.
Okay, well, they should be resettable, right? The cameras were hit by the EMP.
A slightly delayed effect. I suppose I should be glad it didn't happen during a firefight. If you would, please.
Okay, and he will force a reset for the camera.
And everything powers back up and you're able to vacuum seal the visor back in place.
And as you're doing this, Grawl and O'Connor look high, then look mid, and then look low. To see that, well, Kevin has fallen down a gentle slope and is laying at the bottom in a somewhat unnatural position.
Should we do
There.
something?
Yes, we're going down the slope, Eli says as he surfs down the slope just on his feet.
I was about to say, somehow I know exactly what pose he's in.
You do.
Yes, I do, and I'm going to put it in the chat channel.
Not
Let's
if I
see this
put it
is
there
what I
first.
imagined it was. Oh,
A bit.
oh, you mean
The
him?
the universal pose of I have fallen down. The Peter Griffin.
It's the Family Guy death pose, yeah.
I was going with a different.
See, for a second I thought you were talking about what Eli was doing to slide down the slope. It's like,
Oh,
oh,
no, I was thinking of Kevin. I can't predict Eli.
that's fair.
That's the other good one, except for the fact that he didn't fall from height.
This is true.
Graves
course,
is
if they-
able to.
Oh, go ahead.
Graves is able to, with 2 successes on the secret roll I did there, or just roll I just did there. Graves is able to slide down the hill with Setsa still being held on his back or across his shoulders.
Kara leaps into the air, does a front flip, and slides down the hill sideways, coming to a stop at the bottom next to Kevin.
Oh, pardon me.
All right, Kevin is down. Do we have a medic?
I'm here. Hello.
Kara
On,
just
Uncle.
Kara just looks down at him. I say, are you alive?
I got this. What am I rolling?
Insight medicine.
Oh boy. Insight, my worst. Medicine, my best.
You must
So,
admit, him making noise is a promising start.
like he dislocated his jaw. Give me a second. Since I'm Mr. Doctor, man, I get crits on this. Not like a shit. Oh well.
1 success. Well, it looks like he's got a bit of an arm sprain and his mouth is full of dirt and
This
plant.
is okay. So his jaw isn't dislocated. I was gonna be like, this is going to hurt when I. Oh well. Yep. Spit out the dirt, Uncle D.
I was looking and thought I saw Wallaby. Or something else. He slowly gets to his feet, rubbing his shoulder. The priory is further along this way.
Very well. Please keep an eye
So
where you're walking.
You've been to this priory prior?
Uh, yes, reconnoitering. Yes, but during at noon.
Understood some of those words.
Grave shrugs and shrugs, and it's a good gesture. Carrying Setsa and says, "Well, continue on and see what we can find, and hopefully get an easy beam out of this."
Yeah, honestly, the weird thing about this to me isn't that, the whole jamming thing, that it's not raining.
As you say that,
Oh.
there's a little drip drip. And
well,
through
never
the
mind,
forest,
I
it
just-
really doesn't. It doesn't really get much. There isn't much of a drip up until you get to the river, and now it's raining a good deal. It's coming through the canopy, and the river itself is just a small stream. You can jump over it fairly easily. Well, most people could.
Kara looks back at Eli as it starts to rain and says, I believe they call this the Curse of Apollo.
Yeah, it's England in general, it's always raining.
Kara walks along and she just jumps over the river and looks back at, D and just says, are you certain you'll be able to make it without trouble?
Yes, I will. Have no fear. And he just walks through the river up to the other side.
He's more apt than he looks.
The shorts do come in handy in this respect.
He's wearing short shorts. He did not mention that.
No, he mentioned it.
Distressing.
Oh, he
I
did.
mentioned them as distressingly short shorts.
Ah, okay, I forgot that. Shit.
So
For some reason, it felt like it slipped my mind.
I'm just kind of
Daniel.
imagining the Saxton Hale, but wearing a big yellow coat.
Pretty much.
Anyway, Kara just looks over at O'Connor and says, well, I will defer to your judgment, but he did just sort of fall down a hill a moment ago.
He's been through a lot worse.
Carrying on.
So at this point, Daniel, you through your meanderings, you somehow managed to end up back with the group at the river.
Yeah, I wasn't gonna mention anything, but Daniel, having walked a decent ways down the tracks, finally stops and looks back and sees everyone standing in a ditch off to the side, and then he sighs and just walks back over to them before,
Okay.
and then yeah.
So do you have your spacesuit on?
No, it's vacation. He's wearing the Starfleet uniform with the big sweater collar.
Gotcha. So yeah, you've got your uniform. You've got a big river. Do you jump it?
Uh, Yeah, sure.
Kara looks over across the river. Theoretically speaking, you could just swim. We're all already soaked.
Not completely. And I might as well keep it that way for as long as I can.
My long coat is waxed. I am dry under this.
Waxed. I believe Macintoshes usually use rubber.
Well, this isn't a Macintosh.
Setsa is just like, she's just groaning. She's just a soggy ibby. And she's like, don't throw me in the river.
It's just
I
a
try.
drizzle so far.
I tried to warn you not to wear the dress.
I've experiencing comeuppance.
Yes, you are.
It is the way of things. If ever there is a choice between looking fashionable and having an easy time of it, Setzel will look fashionable. And I am reminded that many actually complain about how uncomfortable women's clothing can be. And yet she does this by choice.
Eh,
At least she doesn't have to make it out of whalebone like they used to.
yeah,
You know,
that, and,
corsets.
well, it beats, being uniform in more ways than one. And she just kind of avoids that, like, where that conversation would lead. And Graves shrugs and just walks through the river carrying Setsa on his shoulders.
As this happens, Kara turns to Eli and simply says, Whalebone aside, I would like to see her try and assemble a hoop skirt on her own.
I'm pretty sure she did for this.
I believe it was likely replicated.
Rick is just sort of staring at the river, wondering if he should jump or wade through, and considering his luck, whether or not which option would be the best. So he hasn't gone over yet.
So I will say Daniel is able to make it, but considering Rick's luck, I will have you roll a fitness security if you decide to jump.
Dumb fool. Jump.
He will do it. He will jump.
Fitness security, no comps. As in, no additional threat spent.
Yep.
Spend all the threat. Have him swept into the sea.
He
Two
made it.
successes, Rick. You're able to make a powerful and graceful jump and come to a stop at the other side and look fairly relaxed while doing so.
Well, yes. Anyway, how far is it to the Priory?
Kevin points and he says, up the hill, it's there. And you can just see outlined the remnants of a stone structure at the top of the hill right above you, just poking through the trees.
Goro attempts to scan to see if there's anything weird about the mysterious priory.
Your scanner picks up nothing because it's being jammed. Dampening field! But go ahead and give me an insight science roll. One
Is my stuff
success.
coming through?
You can't tell what he's saying.
Okay, I just saw myself light up when he was talking.
Yeah, there's the background. So anyway, Grawl, with one success, you're able to identify that, well, you can't scan directly, but you're getting a little bit more of a read on the dampening field itself. It's fluctuating in a very, well, fluid way. Shifting this way, shifting that. It's like, I mean, with a little bit of computation, you could maybe start compensating for that flux motion. It seems pretty regular.
Goro attempts to try to compensate.
Let's actually do a control science roll for this one.
Control science, my beloved.
And as you're doing this, the rest of the group is working up the hill. And Grawl, you make a little bit of progress on it, but you're not able to. You get basically a little bit of a hint that you can potentially pierce the dampening field with this method, but you'll need to do some additional work on it with just one success.
Goro sighs and puts the and puts the tricorder away from now in hopes to try it later where there might be better ability to scan.
Yes, and the group, well, you climb the hill one by one and reach the antiquated ruins of this old priory school. A large stone edifice is above you, leading with a notable large archway leading into some kind of, well, it looks like a courtyard now, but it may have been an interior hall long ago.
Kara just kind of steps through the foliage and kind of the bits of rock and rubble on the ground and simply says quietly, "Is this a stealth mission or should we call out?"
Screw it, I fear nothing. Uncle D, should we just call out?
Yes, let us call out, he says in a echoing voice, which continues to echo.
I just want to say Daniel never really stopped at the threshold. He's just kind of been head slumped, hands in pockets, just walking into the place.
So
As Daniel starts to go past Kara, she gently stops him.
He doesn't really put up a fight.
So there's just no response. The rain continues to fall in the darkness. Graves just shines a flashlight around and just says, "Yep, looks like an old building."
Switching over to infrared scanners. Kara looks around for heat vision.
All right, so folks can give me insight security or insight science or insight engineering as you explore the entrance to the priory. There's no reaction as folks are poking around, so you're basically able to, well, walk in without, well, triggering anything that would be alarming.
One success for Rick.
Same for Kara.
I can't stop rolling threes today, what the fuck?
Excellent, Nick, excellent.
There is a possible chance, with just how remote this area is, that this dampening field could be natural. But
Whatever it is, it's interfering with my magnetic resonance scanners and my infrared imagers. That should not be how it works.
I guess since I should, just in case any of them would apply, would antimatter space-time robotics, metalworking, or integrating technology count as a focus on a science role?
Metalworking would.
Okay, so I have 3 successes because I have a 5 in science.
All right. As the others are discussing the possibility of this being a natural phenomenon, well, there's a couple of things going on. Let me just double check the rolls real quick. Yes. So, let's starting off on the first side. So, you hear a bit of rustling. Nick, nearby.
Alright.
It's rustling. And you realize you are not alone here. There could be a wallaby very near where you're currently standing.
You guys hear that?
In an open doorway, there is a large bush. Potentially something within the bush. Could be small. Could be a small wallaby.
God. The bush is in the doorway. It's probably moving. Is this Macbeth?
No, it's just, there isn't any sign of the original floor. It's just all, small shrubs and grass
Oh
that
no,
have grown up.
I know. That was in character.
I'm afraid I am not familiar with Macbeth.
Well, one thing to avoid is saying the name if you're not in the play.
No, I think that's incorrect. I can't put my finger on it, but
Something about the name being unlucky or something, I don't know.
Yeah, okay, so there's a superstition when you're in entertainment where if you say Macbeth or something, it's bad luck.
we're not in entertainment then, so
Exactly. Looks at the fourth wall.
So, Nick, do you investigate the bush?
Yes.
All right. As you look look to the bush, a small snoot pokes out.
What?
It's
What's
a
this?
snoot. It's a snoot.
Hello there.
The snoot sniffs.
I'm being sniffed.
The snoot protrudes further, and you see that this is no wallaby. It is a young red fox.
I'm going to take you home. I'm going to have 2 foxes now. I
He
pick up
looks
the
like he is
fox.
hungry.
I will give him some beef jerky from my coat.
He is napping. Yeah, he's gnawing at the beef jerky very happily.
Kara looks over to Kevin and simply says, I do not believe this local life form is the source of the distortion.
Hmm. No, not likely here. Not likely here. Let's see. What else could be here? And everyone's kind of looking around or looking at the fox. Sets is taking pictures of Eli with the fox, while Daniel, you're looking around and you find you find a little like a hammer, and this isn't like a workman's hammer. It looks like it looks like a scientific hammer, something you would bring to like a paleontology dig. And that gets you like looking. It's like, okay, there's some stuff around here, and you find what looks like some like measuring tape. Maybe a small toolbox has been knocked over around here. And as you're looking through the foliage, you find, somewhat concealed, is a metal hatch.
Daniel just kind of sighs and says, "It couldn't be this simple, could it?" And he goes to open the hatch.
Kevin turns and like calls out, "Wait, you don't know what you are!" And you just open the hatch and nothing happens. You
Alright.
find that there's
Kara does turn at the sound of the hatch opening because it's probably loud and squeaky.
and it go thump. The foxo's ears go back. He's slightly scared of the thump.
Hey, buddy. It's okay. I give him pets.
The
I'm holding him.
Foxo is like he being brave, but at the same time, it's like there's spoopy here.
I'm going
That's
to
what you get
put
from
him
the
in my
fox.
coat pocket. He can ride
He-
in my
he-
coat pocket.
He is calm in the coat pocket. He is riding with Human. Human fix things here.
Kara kind of goes over and picks up the hammer and looks at it and says, I believe this is scientific equipment. It must have been added recently. It does not show the signs of wear that this entire facility otherwise does.
Daniel goes to pick up the knocked over toolbox, putting everything back in it to take with him down wherever we're about to go.
Kara looks over at the toolbox as Daniel writes it and says, I believe we have surprised whoever was here.
Well, or
Hey,
whatever was here surprised them, because things can never be that simple when Starfleet gets involved.
Duncan, do I recognize these kinds of tools with a focus in xenoanthropology?
Yeah, they look like archaeology survey equipment.
Ah, okay. I think we scared an archaeologist off.
I question that, given the hatch. But then again, perhaps this priory was also used in some previous war or disaster shelter.
If this was, I don't think it was an authorized dig. There would be like indications of things. I think we have somebody who's stealing something.
It could just be an amateur.
That doesn't seem likely. But in any case, I suppose the only way forward is down.
Daniel
so
has
it
already
is.
started clambering in.
Camera follows Daniel down into the dark depths of, whatever lies below the priory. And with that, we'll end for tonight and conclude with part 3 next time. Thanks everyone for joining us. Hope you all had fun, and out there, have a good night, pleasant evening, and bye-bye now.
Bye-bye.
It really
Right.
is such a good image, just the idea of Daniel going down, fade to black, to be continued.
Yes.